Once again, welcome back to Philly Sports Spotlight. I'm Phil Andrews, and tonight we have been focusing on some incredible people who have managed to overcome their own disabilities and in some cases unbeatable odds to continue enjoying their respective athletic lifestyles. At this time, I would like to share with you my own personal story, the story of Dwight Hamsley, a former friend, classmate, and teammate who exemplified the strength, will, and determination mantra of what we're talking about. Here's a story I produced way back when in my early days of television. Check it out.
Hard to believe, but nearly 10 years ago, I graduated from here and took with me some great memories, the fondest of which include football and a very good friend of mine, Dwight Hamsley. And I tell you, he could run with a football.
Like a toreador, you couldn't block him, his feet were so quick. Just had an uncanny ability to read blocks and so on. He'd always make the right cut. Was powerful enough to run people over and quick enough to run around them.
With his black high-top cleats and unorthodox style of running, Dwight was almost unstoppable on the football field, but it was something that happened off the field that would change his life forever.
I can remember some psychiatrists coming in and telling me that I'd never walk again. My brother is the one who kicked him out. I didn't believe it, and I still don't believe it now.
A 21-year-old athlete in the prime of his life, all of a sudden quadriplegic, no use of his legs and minimal use of his arms. Well, to explain how this happened, we returned to college, where both Dwight and I are members of the UNH football team. And that's me, number 43, in the lower left-hand corner. And the fellow in the back row, wearing 24, is Dwight.
Well, I think if you, if you had to characterize Dwight, you could call him a free spirit. I mean, there's no question. Dwight had his own way of thinking, and he had his own ideas as to the way he was going to live his life and, what he was going to do and how he was going to do it and when he was going to do it.
Now, to give you an idea of just how free-spirited Dwight really was, I can remember back in college during football camp when Dwight would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning when we were all still sound asleep, and he'd come down here to the beach to surf. And then when he was done surfing, he'd head back to campus for early morning practice. But burning the candle at both ends didn't agree with Dwight, and as a result, he left the team.
And I was becoming bored with it, that it was becoming too regimented and everything, so I just felt that I needed a break and decided to go surfing in Hawaii instead.
And it was there, one Sunday after church, when life took a tragic turn.
I climbed the banyan tree in Lahaina. I had a Bible in my hands. I don't know how I got up the tree with a Bible. I don't know how I got out on the branch, and I don't know how I fell over. But I landed on the back of my head and popped the 6th vertebrae in my neck.
It's been 7 years now since a fall from a banyan tree in Hawaii left my friend Dwight Hamsley paralyzed. And for family members, the road to rehabilitation has been rough, but certainly educational.
I see a whole new life for him, for me, for the whole family. It's changed our attitudes to a lot of things. The material things aren't as important. His faith has been so strong, it reflects onto everyone else.
Now, the football field is where Dwight Hamsley used to dazzle fans, opposing players, and more times than I can remember, his own teammates. But the amazing thing about Dwight's injury is that it never once dampened his competitive spirit. With encouragement from friends, Dwight took up rowing as a form of therapy. And all of a sudden, he was exposed to a world he never knew existed.
I was kind of like complacent. I don't know. So they brought me down, and once I got out of my wheelchair into the boat, got my hands on the oar and got out into the water, it was freedom on the river. There's no hills, there's no potholes, there's no slants, occasional little wave or something, but like I used to surf and I love the water.
Dwight eventually joined a rowing club, and before he knew it, was selected as a member to the first ever United States disabled rowing team.
It reactivated the athletic zeal in me, and once I started training, I rowed at the Isles of Shoals. Shortly after that, I went to Philadelphia and competed in the 4th National Handicap Regatta down there, the Bayada Regatta, and set a course record with Marjorie Martin in the mixed doubles.
Now, beside rowing, Dwight has also become quite an artist. And believe me, back in college, art was certainly not one of his strong points.
I took art at the University of New Hampshire my freshman year, and I got a D in the class. And the art teacher said, "You sure you want to take this class? You don't seem to be doing too well, or you don't seem to be into it." And I said to her, I remember distinctly, before I'm done painting, I said, "I'm going to be as good as Rembrandt."
With 32 credits to go, Dwight is also working on his bachelor's degree in arts and communication. But that's not all. He's also written and co-produced a movie about his life, appropriately titled I'd Rather Be Dancing.
It's tough. It's real tough to have these legs strapped down, tied in. But I'm learning an awful lot. The people over in Japan, they spend hours and hours sitting on little mats meditating. Well, I've been sitting on this mat for 7 years now, and I've learned an awful lot about going slow.
By the way, when Dwight was born, he weighed a whopping 12 pounds, prompting the doctor to tell Dwight's mom, "I think you just gave birth to a football player." Dwight was indeed an amazing athlete and a good friend, but an even more amazing person. Philosopher, photographer, musician, and writer who was also given the Outstanding Citizenship Award by the mayor and Rotarians of his hometown. Dwight's life was indeed cut short last year, but his legacy in the small New England town he called home will live on forever. Time now to take our final break, and when we return, we'll give you the answer to this evening's Future Fitness trivia question. As we return to Philly Sports Spotlight, we do so with tonight's Future Fitness trivia question. Question was, of the 250,000 Americans who are currently spinal cord injured, what percentage of that number are paraplegic? Well, the answer, 52% paraplegic, 47% quadriplegic. Of course, quadriplegic means minimal use of hands and no use of the legs. Once again, that's Future Fitness. No one in the Delaware Valley does fitness better. Folks, I certainly hope you enjoyed this evening's show. Some great stories there of perseverance and fortitude. And hopefully next week we bring you some of the same stuff. We got a surprise for you on tap for next week. But for now, that's going to do it for this offering of Philly Sports Spotlight. Don't forget, we'll see you back here every Tuesday night, 7:30. On behalf of the entire Philly Sports Spotlight crew, I'm Phil Andrews, and I'm out of here.